Yo, y'all already know what it is. We back in this motherfucker once again. We're gonna be in a little more quiet atmosphere. Now, I wasn't even gonna do a video today. The reason why that is I'm still taking care of a lot of background stuff and I wanna make sure everything is good when I actually present the information. So apologies for last week, still in the background getting things done. But within the last hour, I was drawn to bring this information up. This wasn't even planned. Like within the last hour, I began to get channels, and this information needs to be presented. So what we're gonna do is this video is called Mikael Magic. If you don't know who Mikael is, just like we did with the Machiavelli, do your fucking research, and you would definitely be blessed if you do. Now, before we get started, we're going to dedicate this video to the energy of Mikael or Mikael. Mikael, what's going on, man? I see you, man. We're gonna definitely smoke one to Mikael or Archangel Michael. I'll give you little clues about who it is. I say definitely. So we're gonna smoke up right now. So let's get it in. This time we're trying it out with the wooden pipe. If you haven't tried this out, definitely try it out. The taste is way more potent. So we're going to get it in. We're going to make it sacred. All right. Now, just like with the Machiavelli magic, the energy this resonates with is El Cristo Rey. El Cristo Rey. Now, somebody may say, what is that? And I see it says poor connection. It may be because I'm inside. So if any interruptions happen, forgive me ahead of time. But I'm going to do the best that I can. Now, getting back to the point, the Mikael, and again, okay, I'll make it easy for you motherfuckers, because I know you ain't going to do it. So we're talking about Michael Jackson. El Cristo Rey. That's the energy of Michael Jackson. Now, what led me to very bad connection? Okay, again, y'all actually let me know if everything is clear, because if the connection is too bad, I actually just step outside and we just go from there. So y'all definitely let me know if it's any type of choppiness or anything. I actually finish it up outside. So let me actually do that anyway. Let's not even bullshit here, because this needs to come up. So give me 1 second. Let me step outside. Alright, we outside now. Now everything magically works, right? Alright. We're gonna step outside, we're gonna make this shit happen. Now, when I'm talking about beyond the gates of Daath, if you don't know what Daath is, yeah, bro, good luck was looking granny, thanks. No problem. I do it for y'all. Don't even worry about it. We're gonna make sure this shit is high quality. You get what I'm saying? So make sure y'all can hear me good. I know it's traffic in the background now, so I'm gonna try to talk as much as I can. Now, actually, let me step over here. A little bit. Let me get the angles correct. All right, this is cool right here. Darth Vader, definitely. So you already know what the deal is. All right, I'll stand right here. So y'all let me know what's up. Okay, cool. Now, since we're talking about El Cristo Rey, it's a spirit of healing and divine intervention, meaning when you work with this energy, this helps with your telepathy and your healing abilities. Because when you look at Michael Jackson, let's just look at some of the things he did. Because I got the notes right here. Let's just look at a couple things. Now, when we talk about Daath, because that's what I was getting at before, so let me hit this point first. When we're talking about Daath, if you don't know about Daath, it's a spear within the tree of life, which represents darkness, going beyond the veil of darkness, going beyond the things that are scary. Remember, I was talking about that in the aeons. You can say the aeon is set. Now, there's 2 ways to enlightenment. If you look at the tree of life, you look at the uppermost spear is Kether, and the only way to get the Kether, if you don't go through Daath, is through the fool or the magician, meaning someone who is mentally ill or someone who is a scientist. That's the only 2 ways to get into the light. But you must go beyond the veils of Daath. Now, the veils of Daath, just like the person in the comments said, it does represent Darth Vader. It represents going through that darkness. It represents going through everything that you thought was sacred. Everything that you thought was good, everything, it represents going beyond everything that you thought that you should do, that you can't do, that was evil, or anything like that. Watching from that, Mario. Appreciate that. Definitely shout out to everybody that's watching overseas. Now, we want to go beyond the veils of Daath. Again, we're talking about Set now. We're talking about the Luciferian energy, the satanic energy, or that which they consider Luciferian or satanic. And I talk more about that within the Machiavelli magic. So that's more so El Cristro Negro, the Daath. Now, once you ascend beyond the Daath, then you access El Cristro Ray, which represent, you can say, the spiritual aspect of when you bring the information back, whether it is to enlighten yourself or to light someone else. When you bring the energy back from going through the dark abyss, because the secrets are within the darkness. The secrets are not in the light. There's no institution or program you can go to learn secrets. You have to learn them within your own heart, within your own soul, going through your own spiritual experience. This generation about to be super magician. I wonder how the art will look. Who knows, man? I'm ready for it too. You know what I mean? I'm ready for it too. I'm ready to see what the youngest is gonna do with it. You know what I mean? So let's get back to these notes. I'm just giving you a little foundation to build off on. So let me go through these notes. Now, Michael Jackson, El Cristo Rey, or Mikaeel, because he changed his name, because he converted to Islam 7 months before he died. Think about that. Not the traditional Islam, the Nation of Islam, meaning the Elijah Muhammad Islam. And Elijah Muhammad is known, or his whole message was to bring in the new Islam. What is the new Islam? The new age. What is the new age? The age of Horus. Again, I talked about that in the Aeon video. So you can see, 7 months before he died, he was associating himself with the energy he is, with the name change and with the conversion of religion, because he started to see beyond Daath. When we look at Islam, the symbol of Islam is the moon or the crescent. Type in Islam right now, Islam symbol, you're gonna see a crescent moon. If you type in Elijah Muhammad, you're gonna see a crescent moon when he was wearing his throne. It's gonna be a moon on his throne. So you see all this moon or this lunar energy. What is this about? Peace, 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 peace. Definitely. Now, let's continue. Now, when we think about Islam, what's the language of Islam? Arabic. His name was Mikael. Mikael is a Hebrew name, which is he who is like God. When you look at his lifestyle, was that not a reflection of what he was? He who is like God, did he not have a royal experience on this planet? Let me just go through a couple things. One of the titles that was given to him is the artist of the century. Not just the artist of the year or whatever year, the artist of the fucking century. That's one of the titles he was given. Let's continue on. We're going to keep this shit going. The most rewarded recording artist in the history of popular music. What is that about? Let's go on. He supported the most charities of any entertainer. He supported more charities than any entertainer. Super in sync with my day. What's your view on the Soviet L and Al? I have no idea what that is, bro. I have no idea what that is. Let's keep going, though. But definitely thanks for mentioning it. I'll do my research, and you will be able to ask me again at a later time. Now, when we look at what he was doing on the stage, knowing that he was a magician, because he started his solo career in the 70s. And we know about the number 7, it's the most spiritual number. And he's also associated with a lot of 7s. Meaning the day he died on the 25th of June. It's a 7. Let's go on. I got all these notes. Remember, this just came to me within the last hour, so it's all over the place. So forgive me, because you know I don't like reading notes and shit. But we're going to get through this nonetheless. Now, When we're talking about El Cristo Rey, how does one using the Kabbalah go into the dark side of self? That's why I was talking about Daath. If you read about Daath, and you read about what that scepter means, D-A-A-T-H, it represents knowledge. If you do your research into what that means, it'll make more sense, right? Also, what the person mentioned earlier, if you research on Darth Vader, just read about the story of Anakin in Star Wars and Darth Vader if you're more interested in that, and you will see exactly what I mean by going through the veils of Daath, going through that darkness, going through that hardship, putting yourself through a maze and finding your way out. And you're going to come out with more secrets revealed to you. Meaning, if you put yourself in hardship and you succeed and you overcome and you conquer that hardship, you will be rewarded with jewels that you didn't have before that experiment. This is why we put ourselves in hard predicaments so that we can learn new tools and secrets in hardship. Remember, it takes pressure to create diamonds. What's the purpose of being on earth? Why couldn't we all be spiritual beings without forgetting? Because it would be boring. We all knew who we were. We got bored. Like, all right, what the fuck is that? If you know you're God and that you can do anything and all things, you start to get bored. So why not forget and have a little fun and act like you don't know shit? That's the whole point. Like, if you already know it all, what fun is that? You're just in a stagnant, it's like being in meditation continuously. You're just in a stagnant position. So in order to have a little fun, you give yourself a vehicle and learn to unfold and learn to blossom into who and what you really are so that you remember again. That's the whole point. You forget just to remember. So let's continue with this. Mikaeel, it's not Mikael, but Mikaeel with 2 E's, which is a double 5 if you went to your numerology. It's like a constant unflowing flower. Absolutely. You're going back into who and what you are. Let's continue. Now, what else is he known for? Another 7 association is he revealed the moonwalk on the 25th anniversary of the Motown performance. So there's a 25 again going into the 7. Remember, the 7, the most spiritual number, he revealed the moonwalk, which for the first time, of course, it blew people's minds. They never seen anything like that. And he said himself that he got the move from the streets, meaning he didn't even claim that he invented it because he didn't. He gave credit to where credit is due. And also hip-hop, breakdancing, doing a robot, that's hip-hop. So Michael Jackson was doing hip-hop. Although he's titled the King of Pop, he had a lot of hip-hop elements within his stage performances, which made him the universal figure he's known to be. Because hip-hop started in the 70s. His solo career started in the 70s. So right when he was going solo, hip-hop was in the streets formulating, and he was around that, and he brought people in to help him train and develop his styles. So that's why he became the most universal figure on this earth to ever walk this earth. Because, and you see, it's an association with hip-hop. Hip-hop did that. I'm not going to say hip-hop did it all, but hip-hop had a part in that legacy of him. And now that he's no longer on the planet, that energy has been released. So that energy was contained in one man. Now that he's gone, the energy is free for all of us to access through El Cristo Rey. Now we all can access that energy because he's in the ethers now, or she, and you can communicate and do all that stuff. Let's continue on. Now let's go into the 11. Now, what is the 11? 11 represents the High Priestess in the tarot cards. Now, what does he have to do with the High Priestess? Remember, I was talking about the moon. Also, the number of the moon is the number 11 or the number 2. Thank you for coming back. Unfold, excellent. No problem, man. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it going. Now, let's go into the 8. The year he died was 2009. 2 plus 9 is 11. So he died in the year of the 11. Let's go on. He was named the King of Pop. If you break down pop using numerology, it breaks down to 11. So King of the 11. What's another 11 association? He sold 65 million albums. 6 plus 5 is 11. So what do you think about sentimental remorse? If that's what you if you resonate more with that system, then use that system. You know what I mean? You're not limited to El Cristo Negro. If that energy is represented in a different deity, you use that. I'm just using a deity that this is the system I'm using currently. So if you find it in another system, You know, whatever it is, just make sure you know what the energy is. So you definitely feel free to use other deities, such as Dionysus, such as Pan, such as Osiris. Whatever you want to do. Let's continue on. He also was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2 times, or the 11th, thanks for being generous with his high quality and not selling out for donations like many others. Don't even trip. You know what I mean? Somebody got to represent the real and be pure. That's all it is. You know what I mean? This ain't for show. This ain't for fame. This is just me revealing that which comes through me. You know what I mean? And I don't need to do it for dollars and $5 and $10. That's why I'm creating an empire and a system so we can all do business anyway. So that's what's going on in the background. Can you tap into people who aren't dead yet? Yeah, just call them on the phone. You know what I mean? Easy. Whoever you want to connect with, just call them on the phone. Shoot them an email. You know what I mean? That's easy. That's the easy part. It's a little harder when you can't do that. Then you got to tap into this other shit. But if they're still here, just give them a call. You know, you don't have to, or just use your telepathy and like get them to call you. You know what I mean? Whatever method you want to use. Let's continue on. Now, we were talking about the high priestess, and we were talking about the moon. The moon represents the high priestess in the tarot cards. Now, what is this moon? The moon represents illusion. The moon also represents the most feminine energy in the spiritual form. Venus is the physical form. The moon is a spiritual, you can say the representation of the spiritual oracle. Was Michael Jackson not the embodiment of the spiritual oracle? Because although he had explosive dance moves, he was a very gentle person. So he had the fusion of the moon, but when he got on stage, he released the energy of Mars, or Archangel Michael, or the warrior spirit. When he got on stage, when he got off stage, he was a very calm and gentle soul. So he represented the energy of androgyny through the aspects of the moon and Mars. The moon, as I said, represents the high priestess. Mars represents the tower, or a super destructive force. What about Prince? Prince is the same way. You do your research the same way. Most of this information I just got quickly off of Wikipedia. So you type in Prince in Wikipedia and you start to read his story, I'm pretty sure you will come to the same conclusion. Not necessarily the same energy, but I'm pretty sure you will be able to connect it with a certain deity, such as Dionysus or Osiris. So you can do the same thing. So right, I'm giving you examples. Machiavelli, you know, Michael Jackson. You can do the same thing with Prince. You know, Sam Cooke, Rick James, James Brown, Jimi Hendrix, whoever you resonate with. They all have astrological associations with them because they represented stars on Earth. So they all have these configurations where you can tap into it and you can find ways to see how, you can not necessarily tapping into them, but what they represented on Earth, you know, in the cosmos, tapping into the constellations that they represented on Earth. That's what I'm talking about. Let's continue on. What else I got over here? Now, if we look at the Archangel Michael, who is your favorite magician or alchemist? Well, we should know that. You know, anybody that represents androgyny, you know, Machiavelli, of course, Michael Jackson, Prince, Rick James, pretty much, yeah, the people I just named, you know, Jimi Hendrix, some ones, you know, people that wasn't afraid to be who and what they was and to push the boundaries and do things that people thought was crazy and suspicious or whatever, but still, you know, stay firm with their foundation and still create beautiful music that we still listen to today. So anybody who had a legacy, that's my favorite artist. Like the fact that people still listen to their music, you know, 50 years later, 40 years later, 30 years later. How can you not be my favorite artist? Like, especially if you a fan of music, how can you not be intrigued by somebody whose energy is still prevalent because they represented something in the cosmos and you can still tap into that. So every time you listen to Michael Jackson, you are tapping into certain star constellations. So let's continue on. Like I said, the Archangel Michael represents, he was the advocate of the Jews in the stories in the Bible. You know, he was basically the redeemer of the Jews, and he led God's army against Satan and won pretty much in the end. You like Jay-Z, he is chaos energy. Absolutely, you know what I mean? Like the first album, The Reasonable Doubt, is always going to be the favorite because it's the most complex. You know what I mean? Definitely, like the first couple albums, I like those. Then I would say my next favorite would be the Blueprint 3 because that also came out in the year 2009. And that is a sacred year for me because that's the year I became enlightened in 2009, which I think I told in the last video. So that's also a sacred year for me as well. And I also did a dedication video to Michael Jackson when he died because at this time I think I was about 18 years old, but I was still making YouTube videos on YouTube, but I was just dancing. So when he died, maybe about a week later, I did like a tribute to him. You know what I mean? That shit is still on YouTube. If anybody want to send it, just shoot me a fucking email. But that's almost 10 years ago now. But it's still there. You know what I mean? So this is special to me as well. So this ain't just me giving the information. This is special to me as well. So I'm just sharing that with anybody who cares. Now, let's see what else we got here. See, we already 20 minutes in. We shutting down this motherfucker. See, I'm glad I came out. Y'all see. How we shining out here. We still in LA. We still doing a homeless experiment. We still in. I think I'm gonna go for 90 days because what I realize is I can correlate it now with the attributes of the numbers. What I mean by that is the first week I was out here, it was more about courage and fire and getting it done, which you saw in my Aeon video. The second week it was more spiritual. The moon. Number 2 represents the moon, and you saw it in the second video. I was more, in my mind and more just in the cosmos. The third week represented Jupiter, and that's when you see in the last video. Now I was just going in, answering all the questions going in. The fourth week represented, you can say Rahu or Venus, and that's when I finally got my laptop game up. Because I've been talking about the laptop shit. Finally got my laptop game up, so I'm figuring out how to use the shit right now. So in the fifth week, in the week I'm in now, the fifth week, we're talking about Michael Jackson, which and the 5 represents the most spiritual number. And like, if you want to channel in, like, if you want to dance, and basically, if you another way to tap into the Michael Jackson energy is change your house vibration to a number 5. That's also a number of basically pure spirit. You know what I mean? 110 is still your favorite code? Absolutely. I'm still, that's why 11 is also a spiritual number to me because it's a lot of 11s that's associated with me as well. So, and when I started seeing 110, and when I would chant 110, I would have definitely spiritual revelations. So definitely 110 is a sacred number to me. Also 333, 777. It used to be 666 till I started chanting that shit and I had a mystic experience. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, but that's neither here nor there. That's just my own personal thing. So let's keep it going. Let's see what else I got. So Michael Jackson is a immortal, just like Mikaeel is an immortal. That's an immortal energy. That's an energy that will never die. Now, what's the other association? The other association is all this happened in California, in LA. So he died here. He's buried here. So the energy is here again, just like with the Machiavelli. Then Michael Jackson. What the fuck is these associations with LA? You know what the association is? Fucking Hollywood. Hollywood is the association. Glad you're okay. It's been a week. Absolutely. We ain't shit happening over here. The energy is strong enough for us to conquer anything we go through. So I'm gonna be here regardless. Unless my fate requires me to go on somewhere else, I'm gonna be here. So if I miss a week or two, I'm gonna always come back. It ain't gonna nothing stopping us. That's why we back here giving this motherfucking information right the fuck now. Now, what the fuck was I saying? Okay, I got it. Michael Jackson is an immortal energy. Just like Machiavelli, these are immortal energies. Now, what's the association with LA? Hollywood. Because again, I think I mentioned it before, but if I haven't mentioned it, Hollywood originally was Hollywood Land, and it was shortened in the 40s. If you break down Hollywood, it represents the number 3 or the number Jupiter. However, if you break down Hollywood Land, which is the original form of what it was, it breaks down to the number 7. And we were just talking about the number 7, which is the mystic horror number, the scary number. If you walk down Hollywood at 3 a.m., walk down Hollywood Boulevard around 3 a.m. if you're out here, then you will see what the fuck I mean. See, we get it confused, with the lights and the cameras and the action. That's cool. I'm a Life Path 11, absolutely. Peace to you. If you walk down Hollywood Boulevard at 3 a.m. in the morning, it's a complete different story of what you think it is. You get what I'm saying? So that horror energy is definitely really in Hollywood if you are around in the nighttime. Not just around like the clubs and all that. No, fucking hang around a little bit for a couple hours and see what the fuck you see. You know what I mean? You get to see what is not shown in the movies, and that is what is not shown with everybody else. But when you see it with your direct experience, I can talk about it all day, but I would prefer people see it with their own eyes. I see 7 on the clock all the time. Absolutely. 7, 11, those are the two most spiritual numbers, 7 and 11. You get what I'm saying? So you in the underworld, the harpies be out at 3 a.m.? Absolutely. Oh, that's, since you mentioned that, I give you a secret code. The graffiti in Hollywood are masked. What does that mean? Look at it. Visualize a mask. The graffiti in Hollywood represents the mask. You put on the mask and you can be your true self because you feel like people are not looking at you. They're looking at an image that you created and you can fully express yourself behind the veil of a mask. That's why I'm saying beyond the veil. Taking off the fucking mask and seeing what the fuck is really under that motherfucker. You know, we all be putting on the mask for work, for church, you know, for bitches, for niggas. You know what I mean? Trying to get pussy, all this, you know, put on the mask. I have smiley faces now. When you take that motherfucker off, what do you have under it? And I represent the motherfucking horror. That's why I talk so aggressively. We represent the horror. This is horrorcore. This is real life. This is reality. This is me in the streets every fucking day, all fucking day. And you have to be aggressive. Not aggressive, but just alert. If you want to survive out here in any type of strainful or stressful environment, just have no fear. I done had like wild dogs run up to me wanting to bite me, but I just stand my ground and I look them right in their eye and I'm ready to fucking destroy the dog, but they are not ready to be destroyed, so they walk away. You know what I mean? I done had motherfuckers walk up. Most of the time, just give a motherfucker $1 and a cigarette and they'll leave you the fuck alone. If you feel some type of way, most of the time they're gonna ask you for $1 or a cigarette. Give them a fucking $1 or a cigarette, they go about their fucking business. You ain't got nothing to be scared of. Otherwise, motherfuckers are too high. Motherfuckers are too high to harm you. So they're either harmless or give them a fucking cigarette. I bought a pack of cigarettes just to give out to people because I know you're gonna ask. I know you want a cigarette? I already got one for you. Then when I give them a cigarette, I get information from them. What do you know about this? What do you know about this? That's what they mean. You gather information by being in the street. So when people see, this is the secret codes. If motherfuckers didn't know, you have to pay your fucking dues to survive. Meaning, if a person come up and ask you for $1, you know damn well you have one. You better give them a fucking $1, but request information from them because they're in the streets all day, every day as well. So of course they see things that even you don't see because you're not in the streets. You know what I mean? So when the people do come up, they have a lot of knowledge. But nobody think, oh, they're a fucking crackhead. There it is. They don't know shit. No, they know a hell of a lot. But you have to go through the Daath to know that. Go through the Daath. Let me get these fucking cigarettes so I can gain information. Whatever I want to know about what goes on in these streets can be learned from somebody who's in the streets. And what the only thing they request of you is maybe a couple cents, $1 or a fucking cigarette. Motherfuckers they don't even have enough heart to give that. Buy a fucking pack of cigarettes and give them out, and I guarantee by the time you finish giving out those cigarettes, by the time you go through it's maybe about 20 cigarettes. That's 20 questions you can pose to people and get 20 answers. So you spend your little fucking $10 and you get answers to questions that will help you throughout the rest of your life. That's what it means to walk these streets. People will ask you for favors, and when you fulfill those favors, you can get information in return because they don't mind helping you once you already helped them. You think they're going to not answer a question after you just gave them a fucking cigarette? After you just helped them do something? After you just let them use your phone or gave them some information that they requested? You think they're not going to want to help you? And of course, they're going to give you information that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. This is sacred information. You're a true scientist. Stay on the case. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So we 29 minutes in, we 30 minutes in. Appreciate everybody who watched, everybody that will watch, and everybody that don't watch, fuck you. You know what I mean? It's not personal, it's just business. We're taking care of business right now. I'm fulfilling my duty. You're fulfilling your duty by getting the information to everybody who watching it. So we're going to definitely keep this shit. Do I have to have sex to help my black man feel better? Oh, you would answer that. You would ask that question without about to get off. Okay. Do I have to have sex? Do you have to have sex? No. Would you prefer to have sex? Why not? Again, like, okay, in what context do you mean? Are you talking about sex within a relationship? Like, or in what context do you mean that? Before I even answer that. And definitely, we're going to get up out of here after this. I think my case has been made. If If I miss anything, you do further research and you find out things that I didn't mention. Work with the energy and you see what happened for yourself. Favors. What do you mean favors? What kind of favors? Money favors? What do you mean? You talking about popping the pussy for the money? What do you mean? Paying dues? Yeah, you tapped in. If that's your path, walk that motherfucker. That's what I'd say. If that's your path, walk it. If it's not your path, leave it alone and walk whatever path it is. There's no judgment over here. Everybody is sent here to live out their path. It ain't for me to judge. It ain't for me to tell somebody what to do or what not to do. If you feel like that's the path, if that feels natural to you, because what I do feels natural to me. This requires no effort. This is why I've been talking for 30 minutes and I'm not losing no type of energy because it's natural to me. If that's natural to you, if you feel like that's something you can do, then do it, right? Tantric energy creates and release the most potent. Absolutely. So if you are the tantric goddess, if you resonate with that tantric energy and you represent that serpentine energy, that does heal. You are very correct. If you feel like you represent that energy, then definitely don't hide it. Don't keep it to yourself if you feel like that's what you're here to do. Definitely share your insight and your abilities and your talents with the world and you will be rewarded if you feel that's what it is. That's just how real we gonna keep it right now, okay? Ain't nobody else gonna tell you that. So we definitely gonna get the fuck out of here. Any more questions, hit my email, lordasar@gmail.com. Until next time. I'm not gonna say next week. I may pop up randomly. But next time I see you, definitely everybody study up and do your work. Wow, thanks for saving me. Absolutely. Get with the shits. Peace, Hotep, Ashe. We gonna finish smoking that weed and we gonna get it in. Peace, motherfuckers.